Y'all, this is how I know I love this shit. This is how I know I love potting. This is like how I know I love this. So it is 5:48, August 3rd, right? I typically record in the mornings before I get my actual work day started. That's just how I do things, right? Got up this morning, had a great workout, got back to the crib, had some great topics. I'm like, I'm about to knock this stuff out the park. I got some really strong talking points, things I feel just super strongly about, and I can't wait to discuss these things. Recorded a podcast, maybe it's like 40 minutes long. The content was there, the conversations, the stories, interconnecting all of these things was all there. Finished the recording, press stop, let the project do the processing piece. Riverside, this is no plug or whatever, but Riverside is a great tool. Like I ain't getting paid for no ad or nothing like that. If you guys are looking to start a podcast and you're looking for an easy way to do it through Riverside. So it's super easy. Pay for the subscription. God damn it. Don't do all the hard work yourself. Pay for it. But anyway, I I got like a 2-hour drive for my work day, so I'm this whole time looking at the Riverside app, like, can't wait for this stuff to finish downloading. It's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Finally finished processing. I'm like, shit. My lighting look good. I'm looking nice on camera and shit. I'm like, okay. You can tell I went to the gym. My arms look all right or whatever, kind of feeling myself. And I'm pressing play. Turn the volume up on the knob in the car to the max. Like, what the fuck? Start pressing the volume button on the phone. I didn't have any audio recording for the entire 40 minutes that I recorded. The whole fucking show, whole thing in the freaking trash because I didn't record any audio for the show. So, y'all, this is how I know I love this shit. It is 5:50 at this point now, and I'm going to have to do it all over again. I'm going to have to try to recapture that energy that I had earlier about these topics. Luckily, I'm still really motivated about the topics. So I'm going to just dive right into it because, again, this is take two. Take two, guys. So welcome back to Peace Pod. And in this thing, I want to talk about two, possibly three items. One thing is going to be something that I really want to just freaking rant about because I saw something on TikTok that made me say, okay, this is an interesting conversation that needs to be had. And then a couple other items are just one's a cautionary tale thing, and the other one's just about how you get older and how you need to start accepting certain things and just being okay with certain things because you're getting older and you're changing, right? So the first thing I want to do is rant. I want to rant for a bit. And the rant comes to a time that we all hold very near and dear to ourselves. 2020 and COVID. So I'm recently just, skimming on my phone, going to TikTok, just watching a couple random videos. And I see this, not Senate confirmation thing, but it seems like a Senate hearing or a congressional hearing in which a Republican representative have brought in Dr. Fauci. And this one video kind of summarized this loudness that I remember from COVID. And then this representative was like, "Who the fuck?" And he said that verbatim. I was like, "Nigga, I ain't know you can curse like that shit. I want to be elected too, so I can ask people what the fuck." But that was exactly what it said. Who the fuck gave you the right to have this woman in my city arrested for going to this football game unmasked and getting arrested in front of her children? Who gave you the fucking right? Or something to that effect, right? And the guy kind of gave his rant, and I listened to it. And he's like, this one singular incident was the thing that made me sell all my businesses and decide that I want to get involved in politics. I want to be that person that got involved and got rid of my businesses because this was a travesty. And I'm like, damn, as a Republican, you guys are typically like rule of law kind of people, right? Y'all are, if you break the law, regardless of what, have your day in court and just win there. That's what y'all tell us as black folks, don't get shot by the police. Just fight it in court. Why the fuck you ain't tell her to fight it in court? You in here cursing at a doctor and all this other random shit. But did a little bit of research into Buddy Boy, and his businesses ain't got nothing to do with vaccination, keeping communities safe, or anything like that's like high level science, right? So I'm just sitting back like, how do you have the audacity to approach this person with this much vitriol and like you don't know shit? But it reminds me of COVID. COVID was a weird, magical, weird time in which, like, we were all at home getting laid off and trying to just find our way in the world in which, we were social distancing. People were getting closer socially via, internet. Internet dating was rampant. just connections online was just, going crazy. But at that time, Amazon did something that fucked the game up. And I'm sorry, I was a part of the problem. Somebody in marketing and sales was like, yo, fuck y'all doing with those podcast mics over there in that broom closet. Let's put them on sale. Everybody's got an opinion. Let's put the fucking podcast mics on sale. And they did. And you started seeing people have these podcasts about these niche things like wrestling and whiskey and watches and sports and all of these other things that were hobbyists and niche. But then there was this other segment that started growing and getting louder and louder and louder. It was the vaccine deniers or the anti-vaxxers. It was the COVID deniers. All of these people started getting platforms. And I remember specifically some people. I'm from a very small town, and I saw some folks who were like either online posting about their thoughts on COVID, or people that were specifically posting about, I'm starting a podcast to talk about, my thoughts on this. And I'm like, COVID was the time period in which we allowed people with no expertise, no experience, no education to really run rampant on important topics. I'm talking they were getting more notoriety than doctors, epidemiologists, pretty much people in the medical field that dedicated their lives to these positions. And meanwhile, fucking Bubba down the street who failed middle school science is telling you that the vaccine is going to kill you or make you stupid or some bullshit that they just made up in their basement. It's like, bro, we got to start calling out people who don't have the qualifications to tell us to do stuff. Now, I'm an educated person, got a master's degree, got a bachelor's degree, nothing to brag on, but there's certain areas that I can talk about when it comes to training and development, curriculum design, differences in education styles and corporate environments. I am your guy. I can talk to you about this at lengths. I can make things for you that work in your space. I can be a consultant per se for you. Ask me about viruses. I'm going to shut the fuck up. Don't know anything about it. I'm going to trust the professionals in their space. It's like going to, let's say you go to an oil change place and you bring your car in, the oil change light is on. The technician says, you need an oil change. And you say, okay. Technician walks away. Now some random guy walks up behind you. Hey, I got a hot dog cart down the street. I don't think you need an oil change. You're going to look at that motherfucker and be like, hey, bro, I ain't got no change, man. You can boogie. I ain't got no money. I ain't got no money for your crazy ass because you got to be crazy, homeless or something, because what the fuck did you just say got to do with this oil change that I need? This is what you look like when you listen to people who have no medical background, no experiences in vaccines. I'm talking about studies, like people who are in the space. That's what you look like when you listen to those people and you take their advice on these key core critical things. And we pinpointed it. It was COVID. Because COVID not only gave us that illness that killed a bunch of people, it gave Amazon the great idea to put these motherfucking podcast mics on sale, and shit has been just going downhill ever since. I mean, I might be part of the problem. I've been a part of some problematic podcasts, but nothing in which, we told you don't get the vaccine or don't social distance. We stuck to the things that we were good at. We talked about music. We talked about culture. We talked about art. We talked about all of these varying things that we had some level of expertise in. I never ventured outside of my space. I just talked about the things that I wanted to talk about and the things that I was versed in or my life experiences. These people weren't doing those things. They were just spouting out stupidity. No, you're not dumb because you got the measles vaccine. You're dumb because your mom and dad are like cousins. That's what that is. It had nothing to do with you. You're just a byproduct of them two getting together in ways that they shouldn't have gotten together. So that's one of the rants that I wanted to go on because of that Republican representative just kind of jumping out the woodworks who has no experience in that medical space, telling a doctor who's a doctor. I don't give a fuck about the other ulterior motives that the nigga felt like a rock star or whatever. It is what it is. Hell, more doctors should feel like that. More people from the medical community that do things to help us should feel that way that he felt. I'm sorry. Sue me. Fuck it. Sue me. And then if we're talking about some of the things that they were bringing up in the hearing, they were talking about, well, do you think America was having more restrictions imposed on them than other nations, or do you think it was too restrictive? We're Americans, baby. We believe in nationalism. It's all about America, the flag, and hugging that motherfucker for whatever reason. So we have nationalism during other times, but when it's time to be real nationalists for our nation and be like, okay, we're gonna do what's best for America, and the people is like, nah, fuck that, freedom, our freedoms. Now we're not nationalists. Now we're focused on freedom. It's like, make up your fucking mind, man. But what is it that you want to be known for? Do you want to take away nationalism? Take that shit away. So now when somebody who's black or somebody who's American who has not such a great experience says something about their experience, don't bring that national shit in. I'm an American. No, shut the fuck up. Because when it was time to be an American and sit your bum ass down during the COVID pandemic, you was fucking running around. You were running around doing your freedom shit, saying fuck nationalism. So that's my rant. That's what I wanted to go off on. And now I want to talk about a little bit more of a serious topic, right? And this is for all the homies who are getting older and starting to realize something. One of my partners told me this when I was in my late 20s going into my 30s. I remember this conversation very vividly. And he said, hey, bro, once you hit this period of your 30s, you're going to go through some changes and shit. Not physical changes where you might go through some, but it's more or less going to be some mental changes in which you're going to lose a lot of friends. And I was like, damn, am I going to become an asshole? Some people already think that about me. Am I going to be worse? Jesus Christ. Is this the trajectory you see me on right now? That wasn't the case. You're talking about how your value system, how your morals, how what you think is important in life changes drastically from the time you hit 29 until you get into your 30s. It is a very, very, very drastic difference. Like certain things that you care about, certain activities that you once participated in, you just simply don't want to do it because you realize it was destructive, it didn't serve you, or it's just something that you're just not into anymore. And you have to be okay with losing people who are still involved in the old life that you don't want to be associated with. I'll give an example of this, right? A couple of years ago, I had a friend, good friend of mine. We talk pretty regularly. We would kick it from time to time, but it was a good friend of mine. They called me. It was like, yo, what you got up tonight? I'm like, nothing up. Like, okay. And just hung up the phone. I was like, shit, I wanted to stay in the crib anyway. Me and my old lady were like watching Columbo. Hey, that shit is an hour and a half long. Plot is fire. They got a lot of nice set design. Motherfuckers be driving Rolls Royce. And this show's like in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Anyway, we watching the show. Couple hours go by. Because, I mean, it's fucking Columbo. If you haven't looked it up, go look that shit up on Tubi. One episode is like an hour and a half long. So we're watching the show. Get a notification on my phone from Facebook. This is a couple hours later. And it says I'm at a daiquiri shop to my right. I look to my left. And I'm in my motherfucking living room. I am not at a daiquiri shop. But it's my homeboy that asked me if I was doing something earlier, tagging me saying I was at the daiquiri shop. So I ring bro like, hey, you made a mistake or why am I in this post? Yeah, bro, I'm out here, sliding on a little something. And that's when I was like, my value system is totally changed. In my 20s, I might have been like, do your thing, dog. But not in my 30s, bro. Please untag me from this bullshit. Because if your old lady asks me, I'm not answering any questions, but I don't want to be involved in this shit because for one, I don't want your karma to slip around your motherfucking ass and hit me. I'm smooth. You're too old to be lying and shit. And shit like this is a reason why I say your value system changes as you get older because I couldn't look at my friend the same way after that. Because like for one, we're in our 30s, bro. Your old lady is way important than any other relationship that you can have, bro. You seeing your older family members die. You got a life partner that wants to like do things with you, but you still want to be on bullshit. That don't match my life. That's not where I'm at today. You know what I'm saying? A couple years ago, you might have caught me in some stupid shit, but now does not fit my value system. I enjoy spending time with my family. And I mean, your old lady is like the closest person to you, bro. It's not some bros before hoes shit. That's weird. And also, at any given time in your life, if you was that guy, the bros before hoes guys, you are weird. Nigga, my dad always taught me to be around the women, not around these niggas. You can be around your homeboys, it's cool, but we always had a mutual level of respect. If you going by your chick, that's your time. I'm not here to judge you. You was one of them weird niggas saying, oh, you caking, you blah, blah this, blah, blah that. Shut your weird ass up, nigga. You're just weird. But I digress. That is not a part of the value system that I have. So it stained our relationship because it made me view that person very, very differently. And now to a lesser extent, it's other things like people who don't necessarily live the most healthiest lifestyle. I can't be around you and we want to go eat bad and drink all the time. I have to separate myself from that. I respect the friendship that we had at the time and the different things that you got going on, but I'm trying to extend my life. And that requires me to operate in a very different space than what I once did. I don't want to have the hangover. I don't want to be able to not run the next morning. I don't want to sleep in. That's not really something that's core to me. So if you're doing the things that take away from the joys that I now have in life, we simply just don't connect. And guys, it's okay to hit that space. The whole day one friend shit is overrated because you're going to make some friends in the latter portions of your life that are going to be better friends to you than your day ones because you're moral, you're principled, you're disciplined, and you connect in those things. Even if it's something as frivolous as like hobbies or something along those lines, you have some people that you connect with that you can do those particular things with versus a lot of times we hold on to that old baggage and we get tied in the dumb shit that we don't necessarily need to be tied into because we held on to those relationships a little too long. So I say that to say it is completely okay to push those relationships to the side, value what they were, look back at them as the things that molded you into the person that you are today, but it's not something that you need to hang on to or be a prisoner to for the rest of your life. It is cool to mature. It is cool to be health focused. It's cool to not want to drink no more or smoke no more because you don't do that shit and you see how it affects your life. That is completely fine. You're not the bad person in this situation. Accept it. It's all good. Now, last thing I want to talk about, because it would be wrong if I didn't mention this, but rest in peace to that young man, Nolan Wells, that lost his life in that tragic situation that's still being investigated now. It's a weird conversation to have because in the black community, I feel like we kind of have this specifically. If you're black and from the South, like depending on who your parents are and depending on how you were raised, the common thing was you ain't supposed to be hanging around the niggas that's doing the crazy shit. But if you the only black person in the space, we also don't want you there either. Like my parents would not allow me to be in a situation like Nolan was, even in adulthood. I guess my antennas were so raised as a child to where in adulthood the situations just kind of look funny to me. But this is that cautionary tale of not all the time we put our kids in spaces like because we've elevated. And I'm not saying this is the case for him and his family or anything like that. This could have just been some people he went to school with and he might have went to an all white school. I think he was an athlete, probably, where I'm from, kids get scholarships in high school and they go away from their school that they live in, their school that's in their neighborhood to the private schools to where they somewhat get used for their athletic prowess. It creates more opportunities for them later, but it also creates some type of a strain with them connecting back with the community too, because there's some type of superiority complex that sometimes develop when we as black people elevate and we're in all white spaces. So I say it's a cautionary tale simply because it makes you think about okay, if you elevate as a black person, you go into a better space, you should always still look for opportunities to be around people who look like you. Not saying, discriminate against white folks or don't hang out with them, anything like that. But when you find yourself in situations in which you kind of look around and you're the only black person in place, your antenna should go up. You should be concerned. You should ask questions. Well, why aren't more black people here? Are we not welcome in this environment? Are they treating me like, oh, you're not like the rest of them? Am I in a space in which I'm with, a bunch of white folks and some of them might like me, but I see other ones are air quote defending me or telling their family and friends I'm not like the rest of them? That's not a safe space for you. Because at the end of the day, they're looking at you like you're the token and you're the person that's just different from the folks in our community, meaning they don't look at the community in a positive light anyway. So we need to make sure we're not putting our kids in those situations and not placing those ideas of being around people who look like you makes you inferior. Again, I'm not saying his parents look that way. I don't know his family. I don't know anybody connected to the situation. Just from the outside looking in, it's that cautionary tale that a lot of people from my hometown kind of know about because of the circumstances that, we were brought up in. I went to a high school, it was about 500 kids in total. Of the 500 of us, 88 of us were black. it was a weird environment for us because we dealt with undertones of racism and overtones of racism. But we were always told to fear the black school down the street. But anytime us black kids went to the black school down the street, they showed us nothing but love, like we were long lost cousins. So I say that to say, be mindful of the spaces that we're putting our black children in. We need to, at a very young age, encourage them to look at each other in very positive lights. Because when they get older, we don't want them to stray from our community or stray from our people and try to cling toward this other culture and thinking our shit is inferior, because it puts us in the space of how that kid potentially passed. So again, rest in peace to him. I hope his family gets justice. That's my episode for this week, y'all. Hopefully it's a good one, because god damn it, this is the second time I done recorded this shit, y'all. So peace.